welcome back to the Rules of Engagement. We're about to jump into Roro versus Hero, game number 3. Before we do that, let me ask you one quick question. When you're on your computer and you turn around and look over your shoulder, does your room, well, actually, it just switched on me, but you saw there a barren wasteland. Do you see death, destruction, a horrible, messy room, and you're like, you know what, I need a better gaming center? What you can do to remedy this is go to facebook.com/MLGPro. You're on this page right here. Click on in the middle of the screen the Dr. Pepper Ultimate Gaming House button. That'll direct you to this contest page. As we zoom in here, we can see some contest details. So, just a short 5-minute video, actually no more than 5 minutes, so you can make a 30-second video if you want. All you gotta do is introduce yourself, tell us why you deserve the Ultimate Gaming House, show us the room that you want to be transformed. Tell us how you are one-of-a-kind fan of Dr. Pepper and MLG. Enter the contest, and it ends on February 15th, so time is starting to run out. And if you win, you will have an amazing, awesome room, and your gaming experience will be totally changed from there on out. Now, we're going to jump into game number 3, and it's going to be Roro versus Hero. The series is tied up at 1-1. The map is Cloud Kingdom, and this map, a couple important things happened that I want to talk about. First, talk about Roro's strategic reaction to 2-base Immortal push. Then we're going to talk about how you want to prioritize your actions during engagements, then how you can use concaves to make your army more cost-efficient and win battles that you might otherwise end up not winning. So jumping into this game, the first thing we're going to talk about is strategic reaction to a 2-base Immortal. One thing we notice, his Overseer has scouted the fact that his opponent is moving out with a giant-ass army. Pardon my French there. And of course, he's noticed as he's walling off, you know, robotics being built. He knows it's a 2-base Immortal push, right? That's what Roro knows. Now, one thing that I've actually almost never seen a Zerg player do. In this, I mean, you see all the time when people are under pressure, they cancel stuff to build in more defenses. But what's really awesome here is he cancels a 4th hatchery, which is a pretty rare building for Zergs to cancel. They think they need that larva to defend the push. What Roro says is, you know what, larva is not as important to defend this 2-base Immortal push. I'm going to cancel this hatchery and get more spine crawlers. Why do I want to do this? Well, because spine crawlers are more efficient. If you know your opponent is committed to attacking you, static defense is the best way, the most cost-efficient way to defend said attack. And this is even more true with a 2-base Immortal push when it's so focused on force fields. Because, of course, force fields work against units. They do not work against static defense. The next thing we're going to talk about here after he's made that great strategic decision to make more spine crawlers is during this whole attack, as he's handling his base, what should his action prioritization be? So, the most important thing here is to do the large army movements. When his roaches get stuck, try to get them out. You know, instead of binding his force fields, run to the right, run up. You know, wherever, do those large army movements, reselecting multiple units and putting them in a better position. The next most important thing here is going to be making units, spending that money, making sure your larva count is as low as possible, constantly building stuff, spending that money. If you have extra money and roaches and you don't have enough larvae to spend it, what do? You build spine cores, you build queens. The macro is the next most important thing. In fact, I'd like to see Roro building 3 queens, one in each hatchery. There he is adding more spine cores. He's still got more money. Where's those queens? They should be coming in soon. Well, hopefully he's building queens because he's got extra money, and queens are an extra way to spend money. So your macro comes next. Detailed micromanagement is of lesser priority. The large army movements and the macro are the 2 most important things. By far the 2 most important things. So always focus on those 2 first. Those are your priorities. Now, the next I'm going to talk about is using the concaves to make this fight much stronger. So, as we can see here, Hero killed the rocks because he wanted to not have a tiny concave. So, that was very important. And another thing we can notice here is as they're dueling, Roro has access to... Let me actually just drop this trusty pen software again. Roro basically has a really nice potential for engagements because any units that the Protoss army is going to be around here, right? And a Protoss army that's that size, he can engage it from an angle that's basically around here, right? So he's got himself, well, that's not quite as, not quite, I was exaggerating a little bit, you know, but this is basically his army right here. So he's got much more surface area available because of those concaves. And not only does that help in a more conventional sense, but it also helps minimize the impact of force fields. As we can see here, Hero can't trap units with force fields because he would need so many. And any force fields he places down, right here, if the battle was just this size, right? If it was just this big, if this was what the battle was limited to, these roaches are all dead, right? They're dead roaches. Goodbye, roaches. They're dead. We're going to erase that because they're already dead. But in this situation, all of a sudden he can reinforce with units over here, and that extra edge of that concave gives him a much stronger way to work around force fields. It takes the Protoss much more force fields to deal with the Zerg threat. So the concave, and look at that, run out of force fields, you can actually escape because it takes so many because the concave is so big. It really helps minimize the effectiveness of those force fields when you're going through this push. Also, what you see he's pulling the queens to battle. Yes, this means he's missing larva injections, but you know what? The transfuses and extra queen damage per second are probably worth it. If you have extra money because you don't have enough larva to spend it on, right? There's no larva. Just build queens, right? You always build more queens. They're just a fine and dandy unit. They've got more life than the roads. You don't take extra against stalkers or mortals. They do roughly the same damage per second. In fact, exactly the same, although armor affects them more, so it ends up being a little bit less. They got transfuse. Go ahead and utilize them. And now from here on out, you know, the attack is pushed back. There's no more force fields left. So Hero has to retreat. And we're in a situation where even after building all these spine cores, Roro is still up by 6 workers. He's still got a third base done. And his opponent doesn't only not have one started, but the overlord's going to spew creep over that section and make it a real pain to handle. So Roro is basically in a gigantic lead in a situation. Hero does some amazing playing. The game goes on for quite a while. The important thing there is understanding what you should do to defend these 2 base immortal pushes. So first, make that strategic reaction of focusing on static defense. You'll see some players can hold the road struggling. By far the easiest way to hold that push is with spine crawlers. Utilize spine crawlers to help you out. Cancel an extra hatchery if you need to. Make sure you've got plenty of them because they're 7 range and your ability to not be force fielded is very useful for that defense. If you're feeling fancy, you can even start to micromanage them, focusing down individual sentries in the battle, because once you get those done, waves of roaches and zerglings will have no problem taking out your opposing force. Then your next step is make sure you're prioritizing your large army movements and your macro above the small unit micro. And then, of course, the last thing is to make sure that your defense is set up with the spine core formations are all in great concave positions where your opponent will have to use a large number of force fields to deny your force from getting in on the action. And also, if they run out of force fields, you can swarm them with a great amount of surface area, allowing you to do a ton of damage output. Wraps it up for Roro vs. Hero Game 3. We'll take a short break and be back with game number 4.